before I left. Watch it all. If you're watching this, then I've already walked out that door. Not because I stopped loving you, not because I gave up, but because there were things I needed to say, and I knew I wouldn't be able to say them face to face. So I recorded this, not to scare you, not to confuse you, but to finally let you hear the things I've been holding in, the words I couldn't push past my lips. Even on the nights you were begging me, with your eyes, to just be honest. This is not a goodbye. It's a truth. Raw, unfiltered, and long overdue. You've been asking me for weeks what's going on with you. Why do you seem distant? Where are you going when you say you need space? And every time I gave you just enough to keep you from worrying, but not enough to keep your heart safe. That was wrong. And I know it. I didn't lie to hurt you. I lied because I didn't know how to say what needed to be said without breaking us right there in the moment. But now I'm ready to speak. Not to defend myself, but to tell you the full story. The part I've been too afraid to bring into the light. Because before I left, I needed you to hear everything before anyone else tried to tell it for me. I know what you're thinking right now, that maybe this is the start of me walking away for good. That maybe I left because I found someone else. Or maybe I just stopped loving you. But you're wrong. I didn't leave because I don't love you. I left because I do. And before you shut this off, or let anger take over, please, just stay with me. Because this isn't one of those stories where someone cheats and runs. It's not about betrayal. It's not about giving up. It's about truth. And what happens when you keep too much of it inside for too long. See, there was something I should have told you months ago. Something that started out small. Something I thought I could fix before it ever touched us. But I was wrong. It grew. It started creeping into my thoughts, into the way I held you, the way I answered your questions, the way I looked away when your eyes searched mine for something I couldn't give. I told myself I was protecting you. I told myself when it's the right time, I'll explain. But the right time never came. And the longer I waited, the heavier it got. So I left. Not forever, but long enough to face what I've been running from. Because I didn't want to drag you through the mess I created. I didn't want you to be the one picking up the pieces I dropped while pretending I had it all together. And before you say you could have helped, that you would have helped. I know that's the part that hurts the most. You would have stayed. You would have carried what I couldn't, even if it broke you. And I couldn't do that to you. So I chose to leave for now, to fix what I've buried, to fight the battle I should have faced a long time ago, so I can come back whole, not halfway. You remember those nights I sat beside you quiet while you talked about the future like it was right around the corner. You had all these dreams, all this hope, and I just nodded, smiled, kissed your forehead. But deep inside, I felt like a fraud. Not because I didn't want those things. I did. I do. But because I wasn't sure I'd be strong enough to give them to you. I've been carrying something I never shared. A choice I made before you, a mistake I buried, a weight I thought time would erase. But it didn't. It followed me into our relationship. It followed me into every moment I tried to build something good with you. That's why I couldn't sleep some nights. Why I stared at the ceiling long after you drifted off. Why I'd go for drives in the middle of the night and come back with tired eyes and fake stories. It wasn't about someone else. It was about me. Something happened before you ever walked into my life, and I never had the courage to face it. So I told myself if I just kept loving you hard enough, the past would stay buried. But real love doesn't work like that, does it? Real love demands honesty. It demands we show up fully, even when we're ashamed, even when we're scared. And I was scared. Scared you'd look at me differently. Scared it would ruin what we had. Scared that the man you saw in me would disappear the moment you heard the truth. So I stayed quiet. But silence is a slow kind of damage. And now I'm done with it. I left, yes, but not to escape, not to run. I left so I could finally turn around and face what I should have dealt with long ago and come back to you with nothing hidden. There's something about being alone in a quiet room, knowing you're not coming in to ask if I'm okay, not texting to say I made tea, not watching me with those eyes that always knew when something wasn't right, even when I smiled through it. That kind of silence, it forces you to face yourself. And that's exactly what I've been doing since I left. Facing the parts of me that I locked away. The fear I never wanted to admit. The truth I never gave you. Not because you couldn't handle it, but because I thought I couldn't handle your reaction. But now I see keeping you in the dark wasn't protection. It was control. And love can't grow in a place where truth is hidden. You gave me every chance to open up. You asked gently. You asked directly. You even stopped asking when you saw it was hurting me to lie. You were patient in a way I didn't deserve. And all I gave you in return was a version of myself that looked okay on the outside, but was cracking underneath, but no more. In the time since I recorded the first part of this, I've made calls I've been avoiding, had conversations I thought I'd never have, confessed things to people I was afraid would never forgive me. Why? Because I want to come back to you free. Not perfect, not cleaned up to look better, but real. And real means this: I made mistakes before I met you. I made one in particular that changed a part of my life. And I never told you because I thought it would scare you away. But what I forgot was who you are. You've loved me with a depth I didn't think I deserved. And maybe, just maybe, when you hear the full story, you'll still choose me. Not out of pity, not out of habit, but out of understanding. There's one moment I keep replaying in my mind. You were sitting across from me, holding your cup, legs tucked under you on the couch, telling me about some random thing that happened that day, laughing, rambling, being you. And I sat there, nodding, smiling, pretending to be present. But inside, because all I could think about was how you deserved someone who wasn't faking calm. Someone who didn't have to pretend his mind wasn't somewhere else, carrying a secret that was growing heavier by the day. That was the moment I knew I had to tell you the truth. Not right then, because I didn't have the strength, but I promised myself I wouldn't let this go on. So I started this recording, because I knew if I waited until you asked again, I'd crumble. And you'd see the truth in pieces, not with the clarity and care that you deserve. The thing I never told you, it's from a part of my life I buried so deep, I convinced even myself it didn't matter anymore, but it does. And the longer I keep it from you, the more it poisons everything we built. I made a decision before we ever met. A bad one. It involved someone I trusted. It left someone else hurt, and I walked away from it like it didn't matter, like I could just wipe it from my story. But it never left me. It followed me. It crept into my confidence. It showed up every time you looked at me with full trust, and I felt like I didn't deserve it. I don't want to be that man anymore. I'm not telling you this to ask for your forgiveness yet. I'm telling you because if we're ever going to make it, really make it, you need to know exactly who you're loving. No more filters, no more carefully crafted versions of me, just the real thing. Flawed, messy, trying, The truth I've been carrying isn't just some forgotten story. It's not a small mistake I made and moved past. It's a decision, one I made years ago that still reaches into the present, touching everything I've tried to protect, including you. I never told you that before we met. Someone trusted me with something valuable, something personal, something sensitive, and I messed it up. Not because I wanted to hurt anyone, but because I was selfish. Because back then I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to step away when I knew something wasn't right. I chose to stay quiet when I should have spoken up. I watched something wrong happen, and instead of stopping it, I walked away, thinking silence would make me innocent. But silence is its own kind of guilt, and that choice followed me through every relationship, through every version of myself. I tried to build, and when I met you, everything changed. You made me want to become better, not just for you, but for the me I kept hiding. But the guilt never let go. Even in our happiest moments, there was a small voice inside saying she doesn't know who you really are. So I started lying, small things at first. Why I got quiet, where my head was, why I didn't want to open up when you asked. And you, being who you are, never forced me. You gave me space, even when it hurt you. That's why I had to record this, because I can't build a future with someone I love, while still chained to a past I've never faced. So no, this isn't me running away. This is me finally turning around, to confront what I ignored, to fix what I can, and to take responsibility. Not just in private, but openly. When I come back, if you still want to look me in the eyes, you'll be looking at a man who's not hiding anymore. By now, maybe your heart is racing. Maybe your mind is trying to fill in all the blanks, asking what exactly did he do? Who did he hurt? How does this affect me? And I won't insult you with more delay, but I need you to hear this part clearly. You didn't cause any of this. You didn't trigger my distance. You didn't push me away. You were the reason I wanted to come clean, not the reason I kept quiet. See, the woman I hurt all those years ago, she wasn't someone I was dating. She wasn't family. She was just someone who trusted me to speak up, and I didn't. It was a work thing. A moment where I was in a room I shouldn't have been in, saw something I should have reported, and walked away because I was scared of losing my job. That silence affected her deeply. Her complaint was dismissed, and she left, broken, unheard. And I stayed pretending I had nothing to do with it. But I did, not by action, but by silence. And I thought maybe I could bury it. That if I just kept being a better person, maybe the universe would forget. But people don't forget when pain is involved, and neither did I. When we met, you talked so much about honesty, about wanting a relationship where truth wasn't feared, even if it was uncomfortable, and I nodded. I agreed. I said all the right things, but I hadn't lived that truth yet. Until now. I've already reached out to her. I've already told the truth, not just to her, but to the place where it all happened. Whatever comes next, I'm ready to accept it. Because if I want a life with you, it has to be built on real truth, not just the easy parts,